Tam Knows Real Estate, she do. Yeah. Whoa, Tam Knows Real Estate.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Tam Knows Real Estate. Thanks for joining us. And so today we're going to be talking to buyers today and giving you buyers some options. And one of the options is Buy House Easy. Now this program I learned from another veteran realtor in the industry, introduced me to this program, and it intrigued me because I come across a lot of people who do not qualify for a traditional mortgage. It could be that their DTI is too high. Maybe their student loans are causing them to, miss out on, home ownership, or it could be just that the credit is bad. Maybe they're old bills that are bringing your credit down, but you have the money, you're working, and you have a good savings, and you could afford a home, but you just can't qualify for that traditional home loan. And so that's where Buy Easy comes into play. And so today I invited Zeke Shlomi. I pronounced that right, Zeke?
Yes, perfect. Beautiful.
Great. So Zeke is the business development manager for Buy House Easy. He's also the local representative here in Georgia. So I invited him here to talk to us about the program and how you all can take part in it and realize that, home ownership. So Zeke, I wanted to get started. First, I just wanted to, I know you are not the founder. However, I feel like you have a passion for this business. And so I want to know why Buy House Easy? Why do you think this is something that, that you want to be part of?
Yes. So first of all, hello, and thank you, Tam, for inviting me to your show. I'm happy to be here and happy to help your listeners. And so as you can hear, my accent, obviously, I'm from Israel originally. Although I live here for over 20 years, the accent remains. I cannot get rid of it. And many people say me, keep it. Don't get rid of it. It's nice. It's cute. Anyway, the company Buy House Easy started 4 years ago. It started in Indiana, actually. We are a license. We operate in the space that is called alternative financing. So we are alternative financing private lender. And we started in Indiana, and now we're licensed not only in Indiana, but also in Georgia, Texas, New Mexico, and soon coming Arizona and North Carolina, and slowly growing.
Okay.
The company started by investors, people that have been around for many years doing fix and flip and buy and holds and rentals. And they found that niche in the market, just like you said in the beginning, that many people, they live here, they work here, they pay taxes, but because they are self-employed, or maybe they've got some credit issues, and there are many, many reasons, they just do not qualify for what we call Plan A. They don't qualify for conventional and traditional lending. So our founder, he came up with the idea. He said, how about we build something that we are able to give them loans, and they will be able to own the house. So instead of renting and not building equity, they can take part of what we call the American dream of home ownership. So that's how that program started. Now, the fact that he's from Israel and most of the investors that are backing the company are from Israel, we got through our friendship. And, in Israel, everybody's like a tribe. So we got to know each other. And, I met him, I said, look, I live here in Georgia. Back then I was working in IT. So my background is actually been 20 years in IT, software development. But all throughout the years, I was doing a little bit of real estate also. Okay. So I told him, look, Georgia could be a great market. I was looking at the model, what they do in Indiana. And he said, that's great. Let's get licensed. So I actually quit my job. I got a loan originator license, and we started the operation here. And it's kind of it happens in the past few months, and it's slowly growing. And everybody's excited. Everybody that hears about the program is excited. And we will touch a little bit later, but it's there's nothing like that. It's not a rent to own. It's not a lease with an option to purchase. That's a straight purchase. And we will go dive into the details more. But that's kind of why I'm excited about it, because it's very unique.
Right, exactly. And I will, before we dive deeper into it, I would like to point it out again, and I'm probably going to point it out at the end too. It's not a lease purchase. not a rent to own. You will have a mortgage that you will be paying. However, it won't be to the traditional mortgage companies. And we'll also touch on the fact that even if they decide to go to a traditional mortgage company some months into getting their mortgage with you, that is a possibility as well. If their credit or whatever it is that was the problem that prevented them from the traditional loan,
Exactly.
if now they can do it, they can refinance, no payback penalty or anything like that. But let's go back to the beginning. So how does it work? So they would go to buyhouseeasy.com or contact me and do the online application. And then what happens after that?
Yes, so there are actually few ways that it can happen. First of all, once a prospective homebuyer learns about the program, he can actually start what we call a questionnaire. There are four ways to start a questionnaire. You can use a mobile app, Android or iPhone, English or Spanish. We have an app, and then you can start the questionnaire from there. You can go to our website. You can apply on the website also English or Spanish. You can even download the paper application like the old-fashioned way, fill it up, and then scan it, email or fax it back to us. I was surprised to know, but we still have a fax number. And yes, and the last thing, you can just call, and we've got account managers that are bilingual, and you can just give all the information and we can do it over the phone. So that's the first step, kind of to fill up the questionnaire. Now, in order to support everything you told us or you filled up or you claimed on the questionnaire, you need to supply documents. And the documents we try to keep it very simple because many of the people that we work with already, they've been declined or denied or very exhausted from filling up so many applications and getting rejected. So, we try to keep it simple. What we do look for is to see tax returns, last 2 years of tax returns. We look to see perfect rent history, because the main premise of our company is to help renters become homeowners. So we want to make sure that, they have perfect rent history. We need to see, let's say, if you're self-employed, we want to see your Schedule C, so we can figure out your income.
And so
then,
how many years would you need if you were self-employed? And so would you need 2 years?
2 years, yes. 2 years, yes.
Okay.
And then we need to see if you've got car payment or if you've got a cell phone bill. That goes to what you mentioned earlier. We want to make sure we are subject, because we are a licensed lender, we're subject to all the rules of the banking industry. We cannot go over 45% debt to income. So we need to make sure that you're set up for success. So we need to see what's the overall burden, so to speak, of those monthly installments towards the house. And we need to make sure that it's within the guidelines.
Okay, but there is no credit check, correct?
No credit check, exactly. So many people ask us, hey, what about student loans or things that are reported by the credit? So every case is unique. On one end, we do not ask for credit. We don't need Social Security, and we don't look at your credit. So it can be low credit or no credit. It's not something that we look at. But let's say if you do have student loans, we need to understand, are those deferred student loan? Is it deferred like 6 months or 2 years? I mean, we need to understand, and then our underwriter is actually, once they have all the information, they can give you the kind of a definite answer if yes, we can approve, or if unfortunately we have to decline. And if we approve, what we do is you get what we call a pre-screen letter.
Okay. Let me ask you real quickly. Yeah. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I want to go back to the student loan, because a lot of my clients, mostly that I've encountered, they have asked, they've said that, okay, well, I'm on an income-based payment plan. And so the income-based payment plan bases the payments upon their, how much they make. So if they're only making a payment of $50 to $100 a month, or, maybe a little bit more, but the loans are maybe, $50,000, $60,000, do you count that payment, or do you, because I know when there is an FHA loan, they'll count it as you make a 1% payment every month, even if you don't. So is your plan, do your originators look at it that way, or how would they look at it if this person is only paying $50 to $100 a month?
So I guess
Do
they
you take
will.
that into consideration, or yeah?
So we will be looking at the monthly payment and the monthly
And
monthly
not
load what they've got.
necessarily the overall was due.
Yes, and we have to, but like I said earlier, we have to see how long you're going to pay this. I mean, is it going to be a few years down the road? Because obviously that tells us if something is going to change in the near future.
Okay. Okay. All right. And so after they've gone through the process, submitted all the paperwork and documents, then what's next?
So, okay, so first of all, that first process can be very, very fast. I mean,
Okay.
if when we work with the motivated home buyers, and especially now, we're in the end of April, most of the people done their taxes. So it can be, very fast. You fill up the questionnaire, you upload all the documents, and at that point, the underwriter can take between 2 to 4 business days to give you that decision. Now, once you have the decision, that means that you can work with your realtor to go and start shopping for a house. That's it. I mean, it's very simple, because once you have the letter, it means that we actually were able to find an investor that is ready to pay a cash purchase for the house that you will find. So we don't own houses. We don't get involved in that part of the journey.
Okay. So, and I want to just flesh out this part to make sure we understand. So once they get their approval, then they will get with their realtor to help them find a home. And so when they make an offer on the home, it would be a cash offer. It won't be a FHA, conventional, USDA, VA. It won't be that type of loan. It will be a cash offer. And so I just wanted to make sure. So, and that is helpful in this market now with cash offers, because a lot of times the sellers, they want to close as quickly as possible. And so with a cash offer, you can close up to 2 to 3 weeks, and you could be in your home in that amount of time. So that's the great thing about a cash offer. And so once they make the cash offer, like you say, you don't own the home per se, it's not a lease purchase. They're going to be paying their mortgage payments to buy house easy, correct? Or is it own easy?
Yeah. Okay. So that's what we do is actually we've got 2 brands. One brand is called Own Easy, and basically Own Easy is doing business as Buy House Easy.
Okay.
So we are licensed. It's a licensed NMLS number for Own Easy Inc. and Own Easy Asset Management. But what's going to happen behind the scene is that when we come to closing, and we will probably talk about it a little bit later, what happens in closing. But Own Easy Asset Management is the entity that is actually making the cash purchase and coming with the real estate agent and with the home buyer and buying it from the seller. So that's kind of the first part of the transaction. And then there's a second transaction where Own Easy Asset Management now becomes the seller, which is also the lender, and the home buyer becomes the borrower.
Okay, got it. Okay, and I also want to highlight why this program is Plan B, or why is for that special person who has the money but not the credit. So go over the terms as far as how much they would have to put down, the things like that are a little bit different from the traditional loan process.
Yes. So the way we structure the program is like that. We have what is called the risk factor fee. So, and that's in order for us. I mean, like I said earlier, the company Buy House Easy is actually in the middle between the investor and the home buyer. So we get our money from a transaction from the middle, and what we have is what's called the risk factor fee. That's a 20% that we add on top of the cash purchase of the house. So let's say, for the sake of example, the house will be $200,000.
Yeah, pull up a calculator, so
yeah. We have on our website, there is a loan calculator and a payment calculator also, so it's easy to do. But just for the sake of the example, and in Indiana, the price point is much lower, so we can do 100,000. But in Georgia, we've seen that it's better to go a little bit higher. It's still, we operate in the space. It's called affordable housing, so we can go as low as 50 and as high as 250 or 260. It's that price range, and you will understand. I'm just going over the terms, so you will understand why it just doesn't work when it becomes too expensive of a house.
I got you. Okay.
So let's say 200,000, we will be adding a 20%, what we call the risk factor fee. So the price of the house that we will sell to you will be 240.
Mm-hmm.
And then you bring 10% down for a 15 years loan. Now we have three options. You can bring 10% for 15 years. If you've got more savings, you can bring 15% for 20 years. And some people even have 20% down, and then you can go up to 30 years. And this is a fully amortized loan. We have a third-party servicer that is, taking the monthly payment, and so that's kind of the high level of the program. We have this risk factor fee that we are adding. So you come first of all, we've got the first part of the transaction. You purchase the house cash in the way just like a normal transaction. In fact, it's just a cash, but you work with the seller. So whatever you negotiated. If the price, especially, I mean, now it's kind of a crazy market. So there are many times multiple offers, bidding wars, people pay above asking price.
Yes.
But whatever the price what is, that's what we come as a cash purchase. And then we turn around, we're adding 20% to that price. And the home buyer will bring 10% from that new price.
Okay. And
Now,
so I want to
yeah.
go, sometimes with numbers, it can get confusing. So I want to stop and then go back. So if the house is 200,000 and then there is a 20%, and what is that fee called again?
It's called risk factor fee.
Risk factor fee. And
Yes.
so it's a 20% risk factor fee. And in the case of this $200,000 house, that would be $40,000.
That's
And,
correct.
and so that means that your loan is going to be for $240,000. And so
Correct.
your down payment would be 10% of that. And just to show the difference, if there were if this was a traditional loan, it probably would be about 3 to 3.5% possibly. But in this case, it's 10%. So that's where that difference lies there. And so, and then
The down payment, yes, for the down payment, you're right.
and you could have a 15 or even a 20 if you refer. There are different tiers. And so once they get approved, then you guys will go over that with them, their options.
Yes, we are. I mean, we are a technology company, and we're using data to do all the analysis, and we've got our own algorithm. So that's why, as far as the risk that is built into the transaction, that's why we said if you bring 10% down, we can go to 15 years. But if you bring more percent, like 15 or 20% down, obviously that reduces the risk, and we can allow even to spread for 20 and even 30 years.
Okay. And so
one more thing we didn't touch is the interest rate. Obviously, everybody's asking, but what's your interest rate? So the interest rate is high, and again, it's all because this is a high risk transaction. The interest rate is 9.25. It's a fixed interest rate. Again, it's 9.25. It's high, and that's why we're Plan B. So really, when you talk to home buyers or when you talk to other agents, if sometimes other agents, all they work with is people that are Plan A, people that are, approved for conventional, traditional. So when they hear those numbers, they say, guys, you're crazy.
Yeah.
But that's not the customers that we work with. We work with customers, and there are many people in that situation. There are many people that they just do not qualify for Plan A. So I always ask, first of all, if you tried with a bank, can you get with a bank? FHA is much better, lower down payment, lower interest rate, no doubt about it. But if you're not able to get a conventional mortgage, then all you're left is renting. And if obviously when you're renting, you don't build equity, and you just pay the mortgage for your landlord. So
right.
That's why we came up with this program.
Okay. And so at closing, technically what they would need to bring to the table would be that 10%, if that's what they choose, plus the closing costs. Now the closing
Exactly
costs
right.
are still standard, which is usually about 3%. So just to keep those numbers out there and people to understand how much they would potentially have to have. And so I want to reiterate that this is for those people who cannot get approved due to credit issues, but this is an opportunity at home ownership if you have money saved, if you have $20,000, $30,000 saved or possibly more saved to put towards your home, but the traditional bank does not care about that money you have sitting in your bank account, but Zeke does. And so, and so he'll help you. And also, Zeke, I want to reiterate too that I brought up earlier was that there's no penalty for early payment. So if, for instance, if you say, well, you know what, after I get I still need to wait a few months before I can qualify for a traditional loan. However, I want this house right now, and I have the money to go through Buy House Easy to get this home right now. And maybe in 6 months or so, you can go back to the traditional bank, refinance, then you'll be back at the normal 3% or whatever the going rate is at that time. And, in Buy House Easy, it'll be out of the picture at that point.
Yes.
But they helped you become a homeowner in the home that you wanted at the time that you wanted.
That's correct. That's correct. And you very good. You kind of touched all those important points. And I want to actually add, credit is just one of the scenarios. As we work with more and more home buyers, we find out so many more use cases, so to speak. Coming from the software development world, there are so many different situations that our program is good for. For example, people that are self-employed, independent contractors. Credit is one of those situations that now there are people that are foreign nationals. There's a lot of people that we've seen a lot of people from Latino and Hispanic background that they have what's called an ITIN, a tax ID. So they don't have a social security. So obviously, they do work here, they live here, they pay taxes, but the immigration status is, they're not citizens, they don't have social security, they've got an ITIN. And they have to prove that they have an ITIN number. They give us, there's an IRS letter for that. And, we can accept that. So that's and there are many other kind of unique situations. Sometimes people are in some sort of a time crunch. I mean, like you said, they really need to purchase now, and they're waiting to cash out from some other transaction where they will be able to repay and refinance or things like that. So there are many situations that we are able to help out.
Right. And so this kind of fills that gap. It fills a void, because there was a void in there's a void in the industry in that, with relationship to that, because those people were kind of like left out and renting forever because they couldn't, so this it fills that void. And so.
Yeah, I even heard stories, I was talking to a lady and she was self-employed, and she said she's got such an excellent CPA, whenever he's doing her taxes, it seems like she's always losing money, but she's actually working and making a lot of money. And she said, I'm keep renting, and I thought that I'll ever have to rent. So luckily she found about a program, and she said that at one point her CPA told her, look, you might need to close your business, go be a W-2 employee for 2 years, so you can get a paycheck and show, and then you can qualify for a conventional mortgage. And after that, go back to become self-employed. That's how crazy it is.
Wow. Yeah. So how long have you been in this market, in the Georgia market?
So in Georgia, we got licensed towards, it was November, December of last year.
Okay. So since last year. Okay.
Yes.
And what would you say your success rate have been?
So we already, one thing that we've done, and this is more geared toward the real estate agents, is that we actually created a class that's with Kathy McDaniel. I think that's how you heard about us.
A CE class, a continuing education class.
Yes. So that's approved by the Georgia Real Estate Commission.
Yes.
And agents can attend, and it's a 3-hour deep dive, and you can learn more about the program, understand. We cover everything. We even have a closing attorney that comes and explain all the how the settlement statement looks like, because we have it a little bit more complex. It's like investors do it. We have a double closing, we have assignment. There are a lot of words that normally real estate agents are not familiar with, but if you're a real estate investor, you are familiar with that.
Right.
So we kind of teach everything, and we already conducted the 3 classes. We had over, I think, 500 or 600 agents already, and that's really kind of slowly picking up speed. And every day we get applications, and agents are calling, and home buyers are applying, and it's kind of picking up speed. And we've been doing a few closings every month, and slowly picking up.
Yes. And so, Kathy told us about 2 closings that she did with you guys, and it went very well. So, and that's, and, I'll say this, with Kathy, backing and, working with your program, that definitely, made me more open to it, because I respect her in the community, of real estate. So that was, great job.
That's important. It's very important, because you're right. There's so many people out there that you might not know exactly how they operate, how legit they are, And even myself, when I speak with many times with agents, I mean, they say, well, I mean, how do we know you're not a scam? I mean, it doesn't matter that I say we are a licensed lender. It's that's the the world we live in, so people are suspicious. So the
Yeah.
fact that Kathy, once she heard about it, she says, guys, you have no idea, this is really something very unique. There's nothing like that in Georgia. And at least here we talk about Georgia, but we are nationwide. We're slowly growing to other states, and the transaction is a little bit different because some states are they've got title and escrow companies. In Georgia, we've got closing attorneys, so it's a little bit different how it's done. But the concept is the same concept behind it.
And, we still use the same, GAR forms, the Georgia Association of
Exactly.
Realtor forms. So those forms ensure that both parties are protected. And that's why we
Exactly.
use those forms, because we want to make sure that our clients, the buyers and the sellers, are protected. So those forms are still used in a transaction. And so I hope to have one of these transactions very soon, but
Yes.
I've heard great things about it. So
Yes, yes, and I'm glad you're mentioning it, because that's exactly one of the things that we try to do in this program. Is we work with all the licensed professionals that are involved. So we don't want to invent the wheel. We're not going to change anything. So if in Georgia agents are using the GAR forms, we're going to use the GAR form. If in other state they're using a different form, we're going to use the local state approved form. So it's as standard as possible. We're working with licensed professionals, starting from the real estate, and we ourselves are a licensed lender, working with the closing attorneys or escrow title companies. The loan is serviced with a licensed servicer, and everybody that's involved is licensed, and everything is transparent. So there is no shock. Once the home buyer completes this questionnaire and the application, he provides the information, he gets the pre-screen letter. Everything is documented on the pre-screen letter: the 20% risk factor fee, the 9.25 interest rate, the plan, if he plans to bring 10% down for a 15 years loan, he knows how much money he needs to bring. We give him an estimation about how much closing cost he's going to have to bring, because closing cost is always a little bit tricky, depending the day of the month, with taxes and inspection and insurance. There's a little bit of changes, but we can give him an approximation. So everything is clear. There's no shock. And it's happening. Once you got the pre-screen letter, you know for sure that we have the money, and all you need to do is now work with your agent and find a house.
Yep. Okay. Well, I think we've kind of given enough details for folks to go check you all out. So is there anything else you want to add before I get all of your websites and all of that stuff in?
I think we touched everything. Let me just quickly go over. I've got this kind of a nice cheat sheet that I created. So we talked about the program terms. We talked about how to start, that you have 4 options to start a questionnaire. And yeah, we covered the qualification that you need, what we're looking for, that, we don't need credit on one end, but we are looking for people that they do have work history, they do file taxes, they do have a perfect rent history. And, those people, it's not, we are not a government program, and we don't have a down payment assistant.
Right.
And sometimes people think it's kind of an easy way into a house. I mean, it's not. I mean, we have to make sure that we're taking care of the home buyer, but also we have to take care of our investors.
It's an alternative. It's not
Yeah.
easy. Doesn't mean we're giving away you're giving away
Yes.
mortgages. Easy.
And sometimes, that's exactly, sometimes people get confused a little bit, and you know what they say, guys, we filled up the questionnaire, we gave you all the information, and now we wanted to buy a house that is $200,000, but you gave us a pre-screen letter that says we can fund only 130 or 150. So we tell them, look, I mean, we are subject to all the rules of the banking industry. I mean, if your debt to income, we cannot go above it. I mean, we're not going to set up, not you and not our investor, for a failure. So that's why, based on what you showed us, we can only approve 130 or 150. So if you want to buy a $200,000 house, either you bring a co-borrower, maybe you bring a more down payment. I mean, we can work together to figure out how we can make it happen. But
Right.
There's no magic here.
Yes. All right. And that's typical in the traditional world of mortgage as well. If your DTI is too high, then a lot of times they will say, well, what about a co-borrower? So that's nothing new. All right. Well, Zeke, where can we find the online application? And what about any social media where you guys post updates and information?
Yes, so we have there is a Facebook group. It's called Buy House Easy. We have a Facebook group it's mostly geared towards prospective home buyers, and like I mentioned earlier, a big portion of our customer profile, and I'm not sure exactly why, but because we work with everybody, but we have Latino and Hispanic. So our account managers are bilingual, and a lot of the ads that we do are geared toward the Latino and Hispanic market.
Okay.
So people can find us in Buy House Easy. That's one thing. Now, for real estate practitioners specifically, we have a Facebook group where it's a good place to be. A lot of information and education there. And wait a minute, let's see. So the name is very easy. We just called our Facebook group, we call it Plan B, Alternative Financing with Buy House Easy. You know, it's, and I can send you all, I think you have all the information. I can even send you that you can post it maybe in the description so people can find that the real estate agent can find out and join the group. And of course, we have our contact information. The phone number of the company is 1-888-55-OWN-EASY. So that's an easy one to remember.
Yep, 888-55-OWN-EASY, OWNEZ.
That's correct, yes.
All righty. All right, well, I think we have flushed this out enough, Zeke.
Yes, good. I'm happy to help you and listeners. And, you know, if you can spread the word to other real estate practitioners also, I think, you know, there is a lot of people that program can really help. So that's, I think, that's where we're coming from. I mean, yes, it's a business at the end of the day, but to help people reach the American dream of home ownership, it's important. And if we can help, I mean, we're more than happy to do so.
Okay. Well, again, thanks so much for coming. I want you to hold on a second because I'm going to ask you a couple questions after this. But I wanted to go ahead and end this and thank everyone for tuning in to Tam Knows Real Estate. I appreciate you joining me and for joining us for Tam Knows Real Estate. If you have any questions about Buy House Easy or any general real estate questions for me, feel free to reach out anytime. See you later.
You can make your house a home. So take the first step, and just pick up the phone and go. She'll listen to your needs. That's what makes it great. She'll find you what you need. Tam Knows Real Estate. She do. Yeah. Tam Knows Real Estate. Yeah. Tam Knows Real Estate. Let's go. Tam Knows Real Estate. Let's go. Tam Knows Real Estate. Get your keys.